Golden State Warriors are about to make it back to the NBA Finals, but they have a draft pick in this year's draft. And I want to hear your thoughts down below. Who would you draft if you were the Golden State Warriors at 28? I think it's definitely an interesting possession or position for them, as they'll have a plethora of options, and we'll see what they want. They went wings last year. One could argue that they might need a new big man to back up or be a potential replacement for James Wiseman if things fail, but I doubt it. I think that they'll either go wing or guard. And with that being said, I could see them going for a guy like Trevor Keels, but I could also see them going for, I think there's a plethora of guys out here that they could be looking at. And let's get right into today's video. Let's talk about these said guys. So I want to hear your thoughts down below. What do you guys think the Warriors will draft and why? And let's get right into today's video. Let's talk about it. First off, Dalen Terry out of Arizona. I know Dalen Terry isn't, a guarantee to stay in the draft, but Dalen Terry's a guy who he kind of ran a lot of point for them, okay? And he's a guy who's got some size at 6'7", 195 pounds. He averaged 4 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 36% from 3, and 8 points, okay? And why do I like this guy going over to Golden State? Well, it's because this is an aggressive bet on my end. He had a very advantageous situation in Arizona, where he'd be stepping into a more centralized role, and where he, look, if he went back to Arizona, he'd be the star. But still, terrific. It was a terrific year for Terry, and he was a guy who was an all defensive Pac-12 guy, 6'7" with long arms, very switchable, extremely active and aggressive, sometimes overly aggressive. He also acted as Arizona's point guard for a large point of the year, had 4 assists on only 1.4 turnovers. He attacks the rim and can finish above it athletically. He's got a good first step, and the last step is just hitting threes at a real volume. He made 36% of his attempts this season, but only took about 2 per game. His mechanics are a bit wonky, but not broken. His statistical profile is quite strong, and the tape is great in spurts, mostly good, but he's had some rough moments. He's still figuring out what his limits are, but I think he's a guy who, at the end of the draft, he could stay in college, but if he stays in college, it's because he expects to break out into a bigger role, which would make him more of a lottery. But I think he would be available at the end of the first round, and Dalen Terry could fit in and be their backup point guard for day one. Okay? I think he could fit in really well. Now, there has been talks about a guy like Jake LaRavia, because he could replace Kevon Looney. I don't know if Jake LaRavia will be there, but look, these guys been climbing up the draft boards, and some people are skeptical, but a team and he tested way more athletic than we thought he'd be. He was way more athletic at the combine than people were anticipating. He's a guy that an analytically driven team similar to the Warriors would like to draft. He's an exceptionally smart passer for someone his size, reads the game well at 6'8" with a 6'10" wingspan. He's smart, high basketball IQ, and he keeps the ball moving, and he always loves playing within the team scheme. And I believe he's not only going to be a good shooter, but a guy who's genuinely confident and could become a knockdown guy. Steve Novak level white boy shooting. And he brings it all with a 6'8" frame that has some upside to add even more athleticism as he gets under good conditioning in the NBA strength and conditioning programs. Plus, he's a 6'10" wingspan, so he's tailor made just to come in and be a day one starter and make an impact. So Jake LaRavia is somebody there. But another guy that I have him going in the lottery, but he could be there, is Ousmane Deng. He had a horrible start, but for his first season at the NBL, but he's 6'10", can handle the ball, defensive versatility, shot 13.5 points in his last 12 games at 48%, 36% from 3. And I'd be surprised if he falls out the top 25, but if he's there, they should definitely take him. But in my opinion, I really think they're going to decide between Dalen Terry, who's 6'7", can play the point guard position, but he can also play the wing position. There's also Blake Wesley's another guy that they could look at. I'm not a huge Blake Wesley guy, but if I have to choose, Trevor Keels is another guy that they could look at. 6'5" with a 6'7" wingspan at 210. Thick frame, high high level recruit, future NBA guy who looks like he could be a 3-and-D guy with a nice feel for the game, knows how to move off ball, operates within the offense, could develop into a backup for Clay. And so Trevor Keels, we had Dalen Terry, as well as Jake LaRavia. We could also see, if Ousmane Dang fell, I doubt it. But Blake Wesley from Notre Dame, 6'5", 19-year-old, is another guy that they could look at is he's a shot creator with a dynamic, powerful athleticism who can attack out a ball screen, gets open looks. I know he tested bad in the NBA Combine, and that's why he could be available there for them. And he gets past the defenders and collapsing the defense at the first level with ease. And the problem for Wesley right now is the final product. He struggled immensely after college coaches got an eye on him and devised schemes to slow him down. Over his final 17 games, he shot 36% from the field, 26 from three. In his NCAA appearances were a good encapsulation of the trend. He shot 15 over 45 over the 3 games and looked overwhelmed at times. His ceiling is high. His blend of powerful strides and suddenness all give him the size and an awful lot of potential once he gets the final product figured out. So I really think they'll decide between Dalen Terry, Jake LaRavia, Trevor Keels, and Blake Wesley. I think Jake LaRavia will be gone. So Blake Wesley, Trevor Keels, and Dalen Terry will be 3 guys I think the Warriors will have to decide between. Let me hear your thoughts down below if you guys agree with me or is this just me being preposterous.